This is Screencast for Unit 10, ATM 101 Weather in Alaska. I'm Timmy Miner. My observations were taken March 25th through the 29th during 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. in Fairbanks, Alaska. The nearest National Weather Service station is at the International Airport here in Fairbanks. So here's my air temperature observations compared to the service station. And I'm just going to walk you through my observations for each day. On March 25th at about 3:30 p.m., I had an average of 45.15 to 46.45 degrees Fahrenheit. The pressure was at 1005.2 millibars. There was no wind and no clouds during this day. On the 26th at about 3 p.m., I averaged a temperature of 40.25 to 41.05. My pressure was at 994 millibars, and during this day there was once again no wind, and there were very light high clouds starting to move in. On the 27th, it got a little colder. The average was 35.3 to 37.25. The pressure was at 1000, and there were some high clouds. There was still no wind in my area, and I'm taking that because my observation site is surrounded by trees and houses. On the 28th, it warmed back up. It was 41.65 to 40.7 degrees Fahrenheit. The pressure remained about the same. It was 999. On March 29th, the average temperature was 35.4 to 36, and the pressure went up to 1001 millibars. Still no wind. There was some more clouds, but my observations, it was less than a quarter covering the sky. And here is a graph of the NWS pressure versus mine. And for the most part, they were about the same. It wasn't until my last day of observation that we have different data points. They were at 995 and I was at 1001. I'm not sure what this could attribute to other than we were just in different locations. Alright, so on March 25th, there was a couple of pressure systems around the state. There were two low pressure systems down towards Kodiak and the Aleutian Islands. And they were pushing roughly northeast. There was a cold front that was pushing southeast. There was some fog up here in the upper left corner of Alaska. And there's this cold front that's pushing down towards Canada. Moving on to Thursday, we can see that there's a high pressure system moving in. It's out here in the middle of the ocean. There's also a low pressure system up here in northern Canada. There's an occluded front down here towards the bottom of the state, and it's pushing north, northwest, and northeast. There's two low pressure systems out here, still around the Aleutian chains, but they're kind of moving up a little bit from Wednesday. There is a cold front that is pushing to the east, and there's this warm front up here near the Juneau area. As you can see, there was a lot of rain throughout this area, all the way across the bottom of the state. There was some snow up in here, and then towards the left uppermost corner of the state there was some more snow. There was quite a bit of cloud cover throughout the state, as you can see in the background. There's some fog. And there's also out here another low pressure system. On Friday, there's this occluded front. Lots of low pressure systems towards the bottom of the map. The two low pressure systems over the Aleutians have moved up and over. There's still a high pressure system out here in the middle of the ocean. Hasn't done too much. There's another low pressure system moving in across Russia, and the low pressure system in northern Canada. Low pressure system down towards the States in Juneau, and this high pressure system. There's some more rain still down towards the bottom of the state. There's some snow out here in the middle of the ocean. But for the interior, there's not too much weather going on. We didn't get any snow or rain, at least not from my weather station, and there's still some clouds. But there are patches where it wasn't cloudy. On Saturday, March 28th, there were two occluded fronts. There's one over here towards Canada, and there's a low pressure system, some snow and rain along with it. Over here towards the Panhandle and South Central, there is another occluded front with a high front and a low front. There's a lot of rain still. The coastal areas got a lot of snow and rain during my observation week. Up here on the North Slope, there's some more snow. It's not as cloudy during Saturday. There's some down here, you can see. And then off of Alaska, there's the clouds. And then finally on Sunday, we have this occluded front over here at the very tip of the Aleutian Islands and up by Russia. There's this low pressure system and a high pressure system above it. There's some fog up here at the top of Alaska. Some snow showers and rain showers down here. Another bit of fog. There's three low pressure systems. One down here at the beginning of the Aleutian Islands, then over towards Kodiak, and then up into Canada. And finally, here is Wednesday, March 25th again. Just to go back over, there's an occluded front down here. There's two low pressure systems. There's a high pressure system out in the middle of the ocean. Cold front and surrounded by warm fronts. Some rain and some fog up here in the left uppermost part of Alaska. It's also showing infrared images visible and some water vapor. Just to, be able to follow the cloud system. Right here, here's the low fronts. They're going counterclockwise. The high front over here is a little harder to tell, but it's right here. Down here, low pressure system, high pressure system. Low and high pressure. And that is Unit 10. Thank you.